Okay, so in Earthbound, once you finish dealing with the cult and recruiting Paula, you go back to Tucson because you still need to save the Runaway Five. Because there's ghosts in the tunnel leading to the next town, and apparently only their music can keep the ghosts at bay. Which does make me wonder if they've never actually had an album. Because it was the 90s, so it seems like a stereo CD player could have just been held by Ness as he walked through the tunnel. But we actually need to help them. And it turns out that the guy in charge of all the crime in Tucson that you beat up earlier, rather than seek revenge on Ness, hands him the exact amount of money that's needed to bail out the Runaway Five from their bad contract. That's a little overly nice and very convenient. And if this were a one-time occurrence, I could kind of forgive it. But you encounter the Runaway Five later in the story, and they have yet again fallen under a bad contract and need to be bailed out. Did they learn absolutely nothing from the first experience? But putting that aside, they take you to the next town, Threed. A town where the dead have risen in the form of ghosts, zombies, and various possessed things. And it seems just a little odd that the rest of the world does not care that there's a town under attack from the undead. It seems like, at the very least, that would be a concern to neighboring towns, if not a national or even worldwide news event. But oddly, everyone seems pretty calm with the situation. Yeah, the people in Threed are a little worried, but no one's given in to like full-on religious hysteria over the dead rising. It's also in this town, there's something really weird you need to do, where as Ness and Paula, you have to follow a woman into a hotel room where you're ambushed and captured. And there are no good implications for two teenagers following someone into a hotel room. But this has to happen because that's where we meet our third party member, Jeff. And thankfully, unlike Paula, he actually gets his own short solo adventure, so you can kind of level him up a little bit. He doesn't have any innate psychic powers like our other two characters thus far. He just uses a lot of items that only he can use in combat. His solo adventure involves having a pet monkey briefly, riding atop the Loch Ness Monster, and piloting a UFO to crash into where Ness and Paula are being held. And now that he's with you, and you're no longer being held prisoner, you can fight an evil tent to get some fly honey. I am honestly curious what this stuff is supposed to be, as flies do absolutely not produce honey. And then keep the zombies at bay by putting tape down on the floor. Apparently zombies just can't handle adhesive surfaces. Then of course, we're off to Saturn Valley. But we'll talk about that and the Mr. Saturns later. That's gonna take some explaining. Please do subscribe, comment, like, and tell your friends.